Hello developers, welcome back to our channel. My name is Harish Kumar. Today I'm very excited to introduce you to the Spec Coder VS Code extension, which is designed to make coding easier and faster for you. Spec Coder is an AI-powered VS Code extension that can be your new coding best friend. It offers a variety of features such as AI chat, code generation, and bug detection, which can help you with your coding challenges. If you are ready to explore how Spec Coder can transform your coding experience, let's dive in. First thing, what is Spec Coder and its purpose? Spec Coder is a robust VS Code extension that aims to improve your coding experience. It's like having a coding expert right there in your VS Code environment, ready to answer your questions and give you a helping hand. The main goal of Spec Coder is to make coding faster, easier, and more enjoyable for developers like you. The extension offers several useful features that improve your coding workflow. Some of key features are AI chat. So if you're stuck on a bug, chat with Spec Coder AI. It can help you with suggestions and solutions to fix those errors. Spec Coder can generate code snippets, boilerplate code, or even entire function for you, saving you a lot of time. It can also document your code efficiently with AI generated docstring. It can automate unit test creation with AI generated test cases. If you find complex code overwhelming, Spec Coder can help you understand it. You can get AI-powered explanations to clarify the purpose and functionality of existing code. It can also create regular expressions effortlessly with AI assistance. You can also optimize your code easily with the AI-powered suggestions for refactoring. It analyzes the complexity of your code and identifies areas for improvement. It identifies and fixes bugs quickly with AI-powered bug detection. Not only that, it can also streamline your version control workflow with AI-generated commit messages. Spec Coder is your personal coding buddy, allowing you to focus on solving problems and building exciting things. Now let's move on to the next part, installing this Spec Coder VS Code extension. So first thing, download this extension from the link I have provided in the video description. Next, let's navigate to the VS Code editor and let's click this extension icon, and from here let's click these three dots, and to install the extension we need to click this navigation link, install from VSIX. Now click this and navigate to the location where you have downloaded this extension. So select this and click this install button. Wait for a few seconds and extension is installed successfully. Great. We can verify it right here by searching at installed Spec Coder. Here it is. It is successfully installed. After finishing installation, you will notice two changes in the editor. First, this chat icon and this icon in the VS Code status bar. On click this icon, it opens the configuration settings for Spec Coder. And here you can see Spec Coder gives the option to choose between two powerful AI providers, Gemini and OpenAI. These providers offer advanced AI capabilities to enhance your coding experience. OpenAI is well established in AI world. It provides access to powerful language models such as ChatGPT and GPT-4. And Spec Coder also integrates with Gemini Pro, and Gemini is a powerful house for advanced coding assistants. And in the status bar you can see by default it uses Gemini. we can switch between these two AI providers. Here if I select OpenAI, and here you can notice the status bar indicating we are using OpenAI provider. Let's select Gemini. Now in the status bar it is indicating we are using Gemini. Next, to use these AI providers we need API keys, and obtaining API key is very simple process. So here we have selected Gemini, so let's scroll down, and here we need to enter the API key for Gemini, and we can get the API key from this URL. So let's copy this and open this in the browser. Now to create API key, let's click this create API key button. Now here we have two options to create API. First this one, and second this one. The first option will be available if you have not created any API key before. If you have already created an API key before, in that case you will see only this second option. I will show you both ways to create API. First option is very simple. Just click this create API key in new project, and within few seconds it will generate a new API key for us. Here we go, we have this API key. We can copy this and we can ready to use in this Gemini API key in the VS Code extension. But in case if you have already created an API key and you want to create a new API key, in that case you will see this option, and this option is little different. For that, first we need to create an project in the Google Cloud Console and search that right here, and on click this you can see it is giving us the option to select generative language AI project, which it has automatically created when we have created the API key for the first time. Now let's see how we can create new project in the Google Cloud Console. So for that, let's open the console.cloud.google.com, this URL, and here you can see we have this generative language client that it has automatically created for us. Now to create new project, let's click this create project button, and here we can name project anything. Let's say Spec Coder, and click this, and it will create a Spec Coder project in a few seconds, and it has created this Spec Coder project. So close this, go back to AI Studio, and here search for Spec Coder. Now here it is available. Select this and click this create API key, and here we go, API key is generated. Copy this and use it in the VS Code extension right here. After setting up this API key, we need to select the AI model, and here we have option to select AI model for Gemini. Right now it only supports Gemini Pro, so select this. Now let's test this AI chat. So click this AI chat icon. Now here we can chat with AI. So let's say hello, and within few seconds we get the response from Gemini AI. Similarly we can use OpenAI also. Let's see. So let's select this OpenAI. Now in the status bar you can see OpenAI is active. Now we can chat with OpenAI. Hi, and of course we will get error missing OpenAI API key. So for that, if we scroll down, here is the option where we can set OpenAI API key, and from this URL we can get API key. So let's open this. If you do not have an account, create this and navigate to this URL to create API key. Right here we have button to create a secret key. Click this, give any name, let's say Spec Coder, and click this create secret key. Now here we have a secret key. Let's copy this and navigate to editor and paste it right here, and it is ready to use. Next we need to select the OpenAI model. Now if we scroll down, here we have option to select language model for OpenAI, and here we have option GPT 3.5 Turbo 0125, GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT-4, GPT-4 32K. You can select any one of these according to your choice. Default one is this one. Now we are ready to chat with AI. So here let's say hello, how are you? and immediately we get the response from OpenAI. Let's close this. Now right here we can clear messages, and we have this gear icon to open settings. We have few more settings. We will look into this in a moment. First, let's explore its features. So let's close this. So very first feature that we have already seen, this AI chat. It's like having a smart friend who knows a lot about coding and is there for you whenever you need help. Let's say you are stuck on a coding problem like figuring out how to sort a list of names in JavaScript. Instead of searching through internet, you can just ask Spec Coder's AI chat for help. Here you can type your question like, how do I sort a list in JavaScript? Hit enter. It has responded with a helpful answer. Like we can use sort method. And it has given this example also. And here is an example how you can sort an array of number in ascending order. This one. And this example is sorting an array of string in alphabetical order. From this button we can copy this and use it in our code like this. Let's see one more example. Imagine you are working on a coding project and suddenly you get an error that you do not understand. Instead of getting stuck, you can ask the AI chat for help. For example, here we can type the error message. Let's say uncaught type error, cannot read property for each of undefined. This is very common error we see in the JavaScript coding. So let's ask this AI. So press enter. The AI quickly understands and replies with a solution. This typical error occurs when you try to call for each method on variable that is undefined or not an array. And then it has given us the advice how to fix this. In case if you are not satisfied with the answer, you can also ask follow-up questions. For example, let's say give me another example. And here we go, it has given us the another example of for each method. Let's see another feature. Spec Coder can generate code snippets, boilerplate code, or even entire function for you, saving you time and allowing you to focus on the more creative aspects of coding. For example, imagine you are creating a form for a website and need to validate whether a user has entered a valid email address. Instead of spending time writing the validation code yourself, you can use Spec Coder's generate code feature. For that, here just type your requirement. For example, create a function to validate email address, and then open the command palette, Ctrl+Shift+P. If you are on Mac, I guess in that case key map is Command+Shift+P, and here search for generate code. This one, Spec Coder generate code. Run this command and it has created the email validation function for us. And it has also given us the example use case of it. Instead of using command palette, you can also use keyboard shortcut. For example, let's remove this and press Ctrl+Shift+Enter. It has created this function. Right now, this instruction was in one line. In case you have specified the instruction in multiple lines, for example, let's say here, create a function that takes an array of numbers as input and in the next line and returns a new array containing only the even numbers. Now this time if I press Ctrl+Shift+Enter or run it from the command palette, it will only see this line. So for multiple lines we need to select all the instructions line and then we need to press Ctrl Shift Enter or run it from the command palette. Let's run this. It has created filter even number function for us. Now here you may ask that in this instruction we have not specified the language. So how it had detected that it need to create this function in JavaScript? Look at this status bar right here. Here you can see the language of this file is JavaScript. So Spec Coder has automatically get this language ID of this open file and ask the AI provider to create this function. So for example, let's create a PHP file. Let's say user.php. Let's start PHP. Now right here in the status bar you can see for this page the language is PHP. So next let's write an instruction to create PHP function. So let's say you are building a web application in PHP and need to create a function to calculate the total price of items in the shopping cart. So here we can ask create a function to calculate the total price of items in a shopping cart. If you need, you can add more instructions like structure of cart items and then it will create function accordingly. So for now let's create the function for this simple instruction. So Ctrl Shift Enter and here we go, it has created function calculate total price, and this is the example code how it will work, and it has also provided some information about this function. You can read it, but for now let's remove it. We do not need this. In the status bar you can see we are using OpenAI. Instead of this we can also use Gemini AI provider also. Let's switch this and use this. Let's see an example of Laravel feature also. So here for Laravel I am in user model, create method for post relationship and then press Ctrl Shift Enter. It has created public function post and returns has many post class. Of course here we will get this error unexpected public because we are not in PHP class. So let's remove this and let's see our next feature. Next feature is generating docstrings. Docstrings are like mini instruction manual for your code. They explain what a piece of code does, how to use it and why it exists. So for example, for this function, if we need to create a docstring or doc block, we need to type manually comment and then its param is a array. This variable is an array and it returns array of even numbers, and then we need to type description that it returns even number of array. Instead of typing manual, we can use Spec Coder to generate this automatically. Let's see. So let's remove this and let's remove these comments also, which is added by Spec Coder code generation, and select this entire function. And next open the command palette using Ctrl Shift P or Command Shift P for Mac, and here search for generate doc string. This one, first option. Press enter to run this command, and immediately within few seconds it has created this docstring for us for this function. Here the purpose of the function and the type of this variable and the variable description and return type and its description, and here is the example use case. Let's create a docstring for this email validation function also. So first let's remove these comments. Instead of this else, simply return false like this. Now select all this function and Ctrl Shift P and run this generate docstring command, and within few seconds it has written a docstring for this function. The purpose of the function, the params and return value. Similarly, let's try this for PHP also. for this function. So let's remove these comments. It is not necessary to remove all these comments. To make it clean, I am removing these comments. Now select this function and again Ctrl Shift P and generate docstring. And here we have doc block for this function. Instead of writing this manually, Spec Coder has summarized it for us. It's like having a friend who summarizes what your code does in simple words. Let's see our next feature. If you like to create unit tests for your functions, then the next feature is going to be very useful for you. It automatically creates unit tests by using AI generated test cases. It makes sure the code works perfectly by creating tests for you. Let's see this. So let's suppose we want to create unit test for this validate email function. So select this function and press Ctrl Shift P or Command Shift P for Mac user and search for generate unit test, this option, and press enter. And here we go. It has created this unit test for us. It is using chai for these unit test cases. But let's say we do not want to use chai. Instead, I want to use jest. So let's remove this all test cases and here add a comment, use jest, and select this function. Then Ctrl Shift P or Command Shift P and run this generate unit test command. And this time it has created these test cases using jest. So to see if all these cases are working fine, let's copy all these test cases. Let's go to test, index.test, paste it right here. And next here let's export this function and here import source index validate email. Now in the terminal let's run npm run test unit. All the tests are passing. Now you have tests that make sure your function works in different situations. With Spec Coder's generate unit test feature, testing your code becomes easy and quickly, so you can spend more time building cool stuff. Instead of making tests yourself, ask Spec Coder to do it for you. Now let's see the next feature. Sometimes coding can feel like solving a puzzle with lots of pieces. When you come across a piece of code that seems confusing, Spec Coder's explain code feature is here to help. Here's how it works. Let's say you are looking at a piece of code that seems tricky to understand. For now, let's assume this is the code. I know it is very easy and straightforward to understand. For this example, let's assume this code is tricky to understand. With the explain code feature, you can ask Spec Coder to help you figure it out. So for that, from the keyboard press Ctrl Shift P or Command Shift P for the Mac and search for explain code. This one, Spec Coder explain code. Instead of this, you can also run it from this chat, clear this message, and here we have button explain code. So select this and click this button and it will ask the AI chat to explain this code. Now the AI will break down this code into simpler parts and explain what each part does. It's like having a wise friend who can translate complicated code into plain English. If you are still confused, you can ask follow-up questions. For example, let's ask explain this in brief. And it will break down this in simple words. So next time you are scratching your head over a confusing piece of code, don't worry, Spec Coder's explain code feature has got your back. Let's see our next feature. It can create regular expressions effortlessly with AI assistance. For example, let's say you want to write a regular expression to filter URL. So type filter URL. Select this and press Ctrl Shift P and search for generate regex. This one, and press enter. And here we go. It has created a regular expression to filter URLs. If you want, you can also ask for example use case also. Also write example code. Select this, Ctrl Shift P, generate regular expression, and comment this. And here we go. It has created this regular expression, and this is the example use case. Instead of searching it on the internet, you can just ask AI and it will create this code for you. Now let's see our next feature. So let's remove this. With the help of Spec Coder, you can optimize your code effortlessly with AI powered suggestions for refactoring. We all write codes, but sometimes it can get a little messy over time, right? Spec Coder can suggest ways to tidy it up and make it work even better. Let's see how it works. So let's remove all of these. Here, let's say we have this example code. This function calculates the discount and adds tax, but it is not very clear or efficient. So let's see how we can refactor this with the help of refactor feature. For that, first highlight all these function and Ctrl Shift P and search for refactor code. This command, press enter, and it is going to send this in the AI chat and ask for refactored code. And here we go. It has suggested this code. AI looks at the code and suggests smart changes to make it cleaner, faster, and easier to understand. And right here, this is the refactored code it has suggested. And these are the changes it has made in this code. So let's copy this and replace it right here. Let's clear this message, and instead of command palette, you can also refactor code using this button, refactor selected code. Let's see an example. So let's remove this, and let's say here we have this example code which is going to calculate total price, but it is not looking very clean. So let's select this all function, and in the AI chat click this refactor selected code, and here it has provided the refactored code, and it is using reducer for that. Let's copy this and see the difference. Look at this huge function which is difficult to understand what is going on here, and this is refactored code. It is using reducer, which is clean and easy to understand. With the Spec Coder's refactor code feature, optimizing your code becomes easier, helping you write cleaner and more efficient code without the hassle. Now let's see our next feature. So let's remove this. The next feature is that it analyzes the complexity of your code and identifies areas of improvement. You can imagine it like a smart analyzer that checks your code for tricky parts, like a friend who helps you find easier way to do things. So let's say you are working on a project and want to make sure your code isn't too hard to understand. Instead of looking at every line yourself, you can ask Spec Coder's find complexity feature for help. So for that, let's take a look at this example code of finding the factorial of a number. At first glance, this function seems fine. However, Spec Coder's find complexity feature can analyze it further. Let's see. So select this code, and from the command palette, Ctrl Shift P, search for find complexity, this one, and run this command. And here you can see it has analyzed this code and pointed out it is using recursion right here, and it has suggested the necessary fix. The code can be optimized by using a loop instead of recursion. So here is the optimized code. Copy this and paste it here, and here you can compare these two codes. Right here it is using recursion On the other hand, here it is using for loop. By using a loop instead of recursion, the function becomes more efficient and easier to understand, especially for large numbers. This simplification improves the performance of the code and makes it more manageable. Now let's take a look at the next feature. So let's remove this. When you are coding and something doesn't work as expected, you might have a bug, but it is hard to identify where is the issue. Spec Coder's Find Bug feature helps you spot where the code isn't working correctly. Let's see how it works. Let's suppose here we have this code. In this code we have a function called calculate total that sums up all the numbers in an array. However, there is a minor bug in the for loop. Can you spot it? First, let's see this in the browser. Open the inspect tool, console and refresh. Now here you can see we did not get the total. This code is looking fine and very difficult to identify the issue. So let's use the Spec Coder's Find Bug feature to identify the bug. So select this function, press Ctrl Shift P and search for Find Bug. This command, press enter and here it finds the bug. So the issue is right here. Here we have used I less than equal to numbers.length. Instead it should be I less than numbers.length, because array indices starts from 0 and using less than equal to sign causes the loop to try to access an element beyond the array's length, leading to an error. So let's try this code. So copy it and replace this code. Now let's see the browser and here now we have result 150. Great, and now it is working. Now let's see the next feature, generate commit messages. Commit messages, those little summaries of what you changed in your code. Gotta have them for version control, but sometimes coming up with something clear can be a struggle. Spec Coder's generate commit message feature going to solve this problem. So how it works, let's see. So right here in this file we have created this calculate total function and we want to commit this. So let's open the source control and right here you can see this message icon. On click this, it will automatically generate commit message for us. So let's click this and it has given us the error missing stage files. So to generate commit messages, first we need to add files to the stage. So let's add this to staged. Now this index.js is staged and next on click this message. Here it has generated this commit message. It has also added this description. We do not need this, so let's remove it. It has added the feature and the scope calculate. We do not need this, so let's remove it. And the message is feed the feature implement function to calculate total of array of numbers. How cool is that? With one click we created a clear commit message for our version control. Now we can commit this. Some developers like to use emojis in their commit messages, and Spec Coder can also generate commit messages with emojis. So for that, in the status bar, let's click this icon and it will open the configuration setting for Spec Coder. And if we scroll down, here is this option, enable emojis in AI commit. So let's check this to enable it. Now let's close this. Next, in the user.php, here we have function calculate total price. Let's say we want to commit this. So first let's add this to stage and click this generate commit message icon. And here we go, it has created this commit message with emoji and it has added this description also. We do not want that, so let's remove it. And the commit message is emoji feature calculate total price of items in shopping cart. Spec Coder uses its AI to draft a clear and concise commit message, saves your time and keeps your commit history nice and organized. Now let's close this. Our next feature is Ask AI. How it works? Let's remove all of this and let's suppose you have a code. At first, this code is looking fine, but in the browser, you can see we are getting error, uncode reference error, calculate area is not defined. But we have this calculate area function. So where is the issue? So for that piece of code, we can ask AI to find and fix this error. So for that, first let's select all this code, open the command palette, Ctrl+Shift+P and search for ask AI. This command Spec Coder ask AI. We can run this command from here, or we can use keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Shift+Q. In the chat window, you can see this is the selected code, and we can ask anything about this selected code. For example, we can ask about this error. Copy this and paste it here. Press enter. And immediately AI understand the code and found the issue. Function is misspelled right here. This one. It has given the fixed code. So we can copy this and paste it here. Now let's go to browser. Now the error is fixed and we get the area of circle. In conclusion, Spec Coder is all-in-one solution for smarter, faster and more efficient coding. With Spec Coder, you can streamline your coding workflow and improve productivity. If you have any thoughts, suggestions or ideas how we can improve Spec Coder, we would love to hear from you. Your feedback is invaluable in making Spec Coder even better. Don't hesitate to reach out. Your input helps us make Spec Coder the best it can be. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more coding tips, tutorials and updates. Happy coding!